What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, which is to review some spoiler cards. And today is all about Aetherdrift. If you don't know, Aetherdrift is coming to standard very soon in the next couple of weeks. I think there's going to be an early access. I'm not too sure yet. Haven't heard too much about it, but I do know that the Magic YouTube official channel just dropped a video basically teasing a bunch of spoilers and giving us a first look at Aetherdrift and some of the mechanics. So I think what we're going to do here is actually just queue up the video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to skip through to the cards and stuff like that, but just going to give you my thoughts on the new mechanics and cards. I'm excited. This will be the very first time, aside from the 4 cards we've already seen spoiled a while back, this will be my first time seeing or reading any of these cards. So I'll give you my honest thoughts on them, but don't take my word, for what I'm saying here. This is my first time doing this. I'm not too sure how good I'm going to be at predicting how well cards are going to play or how viable they'll be in standard, but we'll give it our best shot here. Like I said, I'm pretty excited about this. If you guys are seeing this though, and it seems like it may have been old news at this point, that's because it probably is, because this video comes out the Saturday of the release of this video. But for some of you guys, most of you guys are going to be seeing this a week later, because this is a members only style video where we talk about Magic every single Saturday. We post it to members only, and then it comes out a week later for the general population. So if you guys want videos like this in a little bit more of a timely manner, you can become a member of the channel and get access to these videos. Next week, I think we're going to be doing the top 5 cards of Aetherdrift being spoiled, because I think we're going to get a lot more coming soon. But anyways, that's enough yapping. Let's jump into it. I hope it's not too loud. Doesn't seem like it's too loud. All right, so let's skip ahead. And I've never done this before, a reaction sort of thing, so I also don't want to get copyright strike, you know what I'm saying? So let's just jump ahead. All right, our first card.
Instead, its tracks wind across 3. Starting with Aetherdrift at 9. All
right, we got our first card here. So it's a land. It's a basic land. Okay. Start your engines. All right, so this is one of the new mechanics I'm talking about here. So I've read this before. I don't quite understand it yet. Let me see if I can kind of decipher this. So if you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases by 1 on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. And then it taps for colorless, and it says max speed. Tap 3 mana and tap this card to discard a card and draw a card. So if my understanding is correct, max speed being 4 means this card has to get up to speed 4, and then it can activate its ability tied to the card, which is max speed, tap 3, discard and discard a card, draw a card, which to me doesn't seem very good. I'm gonna be honest, this card doesn't seem very good. Obviously, being a common land, it's not supposed to be super good, but obviously some reanimation stuff there. But the losing life each turn, if you have to do that 4 times to get to max speed before you're able to use this ability, might be difficult for a reanimator deck, because you're not trying to deal a whole lot of damage until you reanimate your bomb, and you're going to need this card to discard that bomb early on to get to it. So I don't see this being viable for a couple of turns, obviously, and then 4 turns, obviously, and because you can only do it once per turn. So I don't think this card's going to be too good. I don't think it's going to see too much play, but it's a pretty interesting mechanic. I wonder, because I've seen the speed mechanic on the other cards. I wonder if, let's say this card comes down and starts collecting speed for you. Does it allow you to use your max? If you get to max speed on this card, are you able to use your max speed abilities from other cards? I don't know how that works. Let me know.
Newly connected to other planes by the Omen Path, Aetherdrift is a beehive of soul glow.
All right, next card we got Night Market. Okay, this land enters tapped. It enters choose color, add 1 mana of the chosen color, and it has cycling 3. Okay, pretty standard stuff. Nothing crazy there. Multicolored land. Comes in taps. I like that it has cycling on it. That's really cool. It helps a lot.
But there are signs of rejuvenation.
All right, another Start Your Engines one. Again, max speed 4. I wonder if max speed will always be 4 as well. That's the other thing. Maybe max speed being 4 is a universal thing, but maybe each card has a different max speed on it. Anyway, so if this reaches max speed, you tap it, target creature gains haste until the end of turn. All right, well, this one obviously way better than the first one, in my opinion. Wait, how does it increase, though? Okay, this one also increases if your opponent loses life on a turn. Okay, this one makes more sense, though, because if you're trying to give a creature haste when it enters the battlefield, you're going to be dealing damage throughout the game anyway, so getting to 4 shouldn't be too difficult. And then it could honestly be a game winner if you drop something down that doesn't have haste normally, and you give it that haste. Good old mono red, right?
Nation as well. Moves through primordial.
Oh, we got our first rare land. Okay. Interesting. Start your engines, same sort of thing. Okay, it's starting to seem like, I don't know if it's just a land thing, but it seems like to get that speed added to your thing is always the opponent losing life. Max speed. Okay, so once it hits max speed, it becomes 2 colorless land instead of 1. So basically a ramp card. Not super great in my opinion though. Again, I don't know. I don't know how viable it's going to be, you know, getting to this max speed thing. I know there's some pain lands you can drop down to each turn, which would be kind of cool to throw in with these, but like pain lands as in, you know, dealing damage to the opponent, not pain lands as in hurting yourself, but interesting. I don't know. I don't know about these lands yet, but
magic and
pretty cool.
The remains of an measure. And the people are thrilled to celebrate their vehicle or a set contains a huge variety.
All right, let me see here what's going on here.
Whatever kind of player you are, there's a vehicle for you.
Token artifact. Hold on, wait a minute. Token artifact vehicle, crew 1, happening number of creatures. So there's going to be something that creates vehicle tokens. That's kind of cool. Something is going to allow us to create vehicle tokens. I heard there's a planeswalker that's also a vehicle or like an equipment or something like that. One of the two. Maybe that's what creates these vehicles. They're 3/2s that crew for 1. That's pretty cool.
You are Vin Wixit.
Vin Wixit. All right, so we got an 0/4 for 2. It's a legendary creature. Homunculus. You guys know how I like the homunculi. All right, so start your engines. Let's see what this one says. Yeah, so it's still losing life, increases it by 1. You have no maximum hand size. Max speed, if you would draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. That's insane. See, now that's pretty cool. Because once you get to that max speed, it's not like every upkeep you're drawing 2 cards. It says if you draw a card, draw 2 instead. Which means like if you have draw engines already on the field, like let's say we have Beanstalk or something, drawing you a card on top of you're already drawing a card on the upkeep. That's 4 cards instead of just a 2. So this doubles every single time. And you have no maximum hand size. That can be pretty sweet on the top end. That's a lot of card draw. If card draw is trying to win you games, this could be pretty interesting. Legendary though, obviously making things a little tough. But
as fast as this race is his motor mouth. He's also here to introduce
okay, so that's just the alternate art. That's pretty cool. I like that. That art is sweet.
Start Your Engines represents creatures and vehicles beginning the race, gaining more and more speed and achieving new abilities. The final and most powerful abilities are then unlocked once you reach max speed.
Okay, so if I heard that correctly, let's say you start on speed 1. Some creatures are going to be able to do something if you're up to speed 1. Same with speed 2, speed 3. So like, let's say there's a card, it'll say like, reach speed 3, you can do this. That's kind of cool. It doesn't have to be max speed every time. Your engines,
grab the helper card to track your speed. There will be one included in every pre-release box. Once on each of your turns, when an opponent loses life, you gain 1 level of speed until ultimately reaching max speed.
Oh, and it flips.
Victory
okay, I was like, where's the 4?
Grand Prix is its own reward. The fame, the glory, the rush. But for those that want an actual reward, there is also a masterwork artifact to be won. As you can see, it has a shiny gold filigree casing, but it's what's inside that really counts. The Aether Spark.
Aether Spark. Oh, okay, they were setting up for another card here. Oh, this is the Planeswalker card. Okay, hold on now. Give me a second. Aether Spark. It's 4 mana, 4 loyalty. Okay, colorless. That's kind of insane. Colorless Planeswalkers can be troublesome sometimes. As long as the Aether Spark is attached to a creature, the Aether Spark can't be attacked and has whatever equipped creature deals combat damage during your turn. Put that many loyalty counters on this. Okay, so can't be attacked. Obviously, it's attached to a creature. Whenever a creature deals combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters. So if it deals 10 damage against 10 loyalty counters, that's crazy. Attach the Aether Spark to up to 1 target creature you control. Put a 1/1 counter on that creature for +1. So this comes down right away, attaches itself for +1 to a creature, and that creature gets +1/1 because it gets the counter. Okay, that's pretty sick. And then -5, draw 2 cards. Also pretty sick, because if you think about it, let's really think about this. If you're playing this card on 4, you're probably attaching it to a creature with the +1 right away. And then you're attacking in, which is assumably going to get you more loyalty counters placed onto this. So it's already at 5. You attack in, so let's say you deal 4 damage. Or 5. It's not that unlikely. and then you get 10 loyalty counters on this. You could draw 2 cards right away, or let's see what -10 is. Add 10 mana of any one color. Now, that may sound super insane, but let me think about that for a second. I don't think adding 10 mana of one color is too crazy. I mean, it is depending on what kind of build you have, but typically with the equipment decks, all of your things are going to be pretty cheap and efficient. I mean, it could unload your entire hand. Don't get me wrong. It could unload the entirety of your hand, which could change the game. But there's really not, most equipment decks aren't running like big stomp sort of creatures. This could change that, obviously. I think the -5 is probably going to get used a little bit more than to add 10 mana. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm with that. I think this card is really sick. I am going to try that. I'm absolutely going to try that. The problem is to really maximize this card, I feel like, is you're going to have to run it with already really good decks like Boros equipment. I'm sorry, Boros auras and stuff. I mean, think about it. If you attach this thing to a target creature, so let's say you attach it to the Heartfire hero, it's going to get the added benefit because of its Valiant. Plus this gets the counter on it. And, dude, I just have a feeling this is going to get thrown into mostly already good decks that we've already seen. But hopefully we can try it in something a little bit different and get some value out of it. Pretty freaking cool Planeswalker, right, though, I gotta say.
A Planeswalker Spark. And say goodbye, get in the driver's seat, and travel and look anytime you, which is why each have their own rides, and anyone's guess. Machines speeding their way. Okay,
we got another one here. All right, so, it's a rare creature, legendary, Azorius colors. Let's see. Mendicant Core's power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. Okay. Number of artifacts. So already looking good with Simulacrum, I'm guessing. And then it says start your engines. Starts with 1, max is 4. If you hit max speed, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 1 if you do copy it. I think I've seen this one. This is one of the 4 I think that was already spoiled, I think, because it seems familiar. But yeah, I mean, Simulacrum, you're breaking the card with this guy because, you know, you get it down on 2. If you happen to get to max speed, you're going to be doing just nasty work with the Simulacrum coming down. You copy it with paying 1, and it just gets out of control. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. We already see some really good 3, you know, there's a 3 mana artifact that can come down and copy token artifacts you already control. There's ways to copy, you know, the Simulacrum with things like 3 steps ahead and whatnot. So I don't know how viable this is going to be in like exchanging out for those. It could be really good. I just don't know how easy it's going to be to get to the max speed. I have no idea. I mean, in a Simulacrum deck, I can't imagine it's going to be a big focus because you're trying to hit the opponent with one massive big shot, you know, with a bunch of Simulacrum tokens. I don't see us doing like 1 little damage, 2, 3, 4 in 4 turns, and then on top of that you're copying. I just don't know how easy it's going to be to get to max speed. It seems like if you get to max speed, you should already be winning the game. You should already be doing your thing. With the meta being as fast as it is, this comes down on turn 2, then you need to have at least 4 turns after that, so you're on turn 6 already just to get to max speed, and now you're playing your thing and then copying it. You're on turn 6, 7. Like, I don't know about max speed, man. I don't know.
An unknown plane of the multiverse or beyond.
If there's a card, like I said, if there's a card that generates some sort of value for being at speed 2, 3, whatever, I'd love to see that because I think that would be interesting.
Coordination. No surprise, as the Voyagers considerable machines have vehicles to become.
Okay, so this is a vehicle, artifact vehicle, uncommon for 6/5. Vigilance, crew 2. Whenever this vehicle enters, you may search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it onto the battlefield if it's mana value 2 or less. Otherwise, put it into your hand and shuffle. So I'm see why they're showing it with this card. So you can use this card ideally to get this guy, bring him down on the battlefield, which is pretty cool. It crews for 2 as well. I mean, nice little pairing.
Greater than the sum of their parts. Being as the race itself is, 40 borderless revved up cards in background.
Those are really cool. I can't lie, those arts are really cool. Speed demons. We're talking about the mirror right now. Okay, so these are different clans that they're calling. Okay, what was this clan called? Guidelight Voyagers, and these are speed demons. Okay, so Demir. Winter Cursed Rider is a 2 mana 3/2 legendary creature. Ward, pay 2 life. Okay. Artifacts you control have ward, pay 2 life. Let's see, Exhaust. For 4 mana and tapping this, exile X artifacts cards from your graveyard. Each other non-artifact creature gets -X, -X until the end of turn. Activate each exhaust ability only once. So you can only do this ability one time. Each other non-artifact creature. So is this a legendary? Oh, so it's each other. So this card would be safe from its own sweeper. Okay, that's good. I was wondering if this card would get caught up in its own sweeper there. So you exile artifacts, but it's exile X artifact cards, not X mana value. So you're gonna have to exile a lot of artifacts here if you're gonna get really good value out of that sort of play. If you want to do like -3 or -4, which is typically what you're gonna need most of the time in that spot, on turn 4, you're gonna need a pretty hefty graveyard. So I don't know about that one yet.
Competitors in the Grand Prix, they're ghosts, possessed survivors, haunted dolls, ghouls, doomed to race together forever on the.
Oh, here we go. We got a 1 mana last ride artifact vehicle mythic 13/13. I can see where this is going. The last ride gets -X, -X, which is your total life. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's cool, but you can't play it on turn 1 because if you play it on turn 1, you got 20 life. Boom, it's dead. I guess it's an artifact vehicle though, so it's not actually going into play as a creature, so it shouldn't be dead when you play it. But you can play it on 1 and then crew it later in the game for value, which is pretty cool. Pay 2 life and draw a card for 3 mana. That's a pretty cool card. That could be good. That could be a good little finisher. Get it on the field on 1. Yeah, I mean, it's only crews for 2. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. That might be a really good way to finish a game out. I like that card.
Its stoppers are inspired by going for the gold.
Oh, look at that one. That's sweet.
2, and in order to click which represents a creature or only is Loot the Pathfinder.
Oh, we got another loot for teamer colors. Okay. Legendary creature, 2/4, mythic. Okay. Double strike, vigilance, and haste. Double strike, vigilance, and haste. Let me read the mana again. 2, 3, 4, 5 total for 2/4. A lot of keywords. Add 3 mana of any one color. That's pretty good. It has haste too. Oh, that's really good. Okay. For blue, you can tap, draw 3 cards. And for red, deals 3 damage to any target. That's pretty nuts, actually. Hold on now. That's pretty nuts. So 2, 3, 4. For 5 mana, you get this down. It has vigilance right away. It seems like you're not going to want to play this until at least turn 6. So you have that 1 additional mana, or not even turn 6. But if you've ramped your way, hopefully you did ramp your way into this. Say you get it down on turn 5 and you have 6 mana, you can then tap it right away for one of these 2 or one of these 3 abilities. That's pretty sick. I mean, all 3 of these abilities are nuts. You can remove something off the battlefield, draw 3 cards, which is absurd, and then add 3 mana of any one color. Now, I can't imagine you're going to add 3 mana of any one color after this, comes into the field right away, because you're probably playing this on 5, like I said, and then you're going to tap, create 3 more mana, and then play something of lesser value, which probably would have already been on the battlefield most of the time. So you're probably drawing a card or, removing something off the battlefield. Either way, it's getting some sort of good value when it hits the field, which pretty friggin' sweet.
Originally found in the vault, captured by winter and to divine, yet play a decisive apocalypse punk war.
The End Riders, Rakdos colors, 4 mana for this one here. It's a human mercenary. Humans are a very important type. Start your engines. Yep, we know this. Whenever you attack, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. Max speed. See, it's another max speed one. There's no in between. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +1 instead. All right, we've seen that sort of ability quite a bit. Could be annoying, could be pretty good. This thing doesn't have haste though or anything like that. A 4/5 for 4. Pretty fair card in my opinion. It's probably not going to see a ton of play.
Of her loyal crew away, protect them as they cannonball.
Okay, another artifact that ties to it maybe. Artifact vehicle for 4. It's a 6/5. Target creature you control with power 2 or less gains lifelink until the end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. Let me read that again for my own brain. Target creature you control with power 2 or less gains lifelink until the end of turn and can't be blocked. Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's just a passive ability tied to the artifact, which can be activated right away. Summoning Sickness doesn't play a part in that. And it crews for 3. It's a 6/5. That's pretty good. For an uncommon, I think that's actually really good. This could go with, I feel like, Delny decks. I mean, power 2 or less is a pretty interesting choice of words there, because Delny, you know, obviously triggers extra triggers for things power 2 or less. Could fall into like a Mardu build. I mean, this could be interesting. I like this card. I don't think it's going to be super great, but I like it a lot because giving the creature lifelink and it can't be blocked is, you know, that could be game changing. I mean, you could throw it in there with the Arabella. We just played Arabella, and there's been times where I couldn't attack with the Arabella because I needed to drain them for the life, but I didn't want to lose the Arabella. This, you know, makes it unable to be blocked, and I gain a little more life. That could be solid.
The the Goblin Rocketeer.
Goblin Rocketeers. Redshift Rocketeer Chief is a 2/3 for 2. Vigilance. Add X mana of any one color. Add X mana of any one color where X is its power. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Okay, pretty limited on that. Exhaust for, oh my goodness, 12. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate each exhaust. Yeah, we know that. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Any number of permanents, not just creatures, but permanents. And it gets cheaper the stronger this gets. So let's assume we have a redshift on the field and we pump it, you know, throughout the next couple of turns. Let's say it's a 4 or 5 powered creature. So now this ability becomes 5, 6, 7 mana. I mean, this would have to get much bigger for sure. But I mean, think about a turn where you just monstrous rage this for 1. I mean, what's that going to do? That's 3, like 4, 5, 6. You're looking at like 6 mana to do the ability. I mean, that's pretty good. So let me get this straight. Tap it, add X mana of one color, where if it's power to spend. Okay, that's pretty. I can see this being really good, but I think they went really safe with 12 mana. I feel like the exhaust cost for 12 mana. I get the idea. This gets bigger. This gets cheaper, but it has to get really big for it to be like busted. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you'd have to get that exhaust down to like 5 or 6 mana for this card to like really go crazy and like one shot end the game, which would, you know, be quite a bit. So it's hard to say if this is going to be good or not, but I think I'm leaning towards pretty good. I'm sure somebody's going to break it.
Rocketeer's need for speed.
All right, we got an artifact vehicle for 2. It's a 3/2. Whenever this vehicle attacks, create a treasure token. Whenever this vehicle, okay. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature if you exhaust for 3. Put a 1/1 counter on it. This vehicle becomes an artifact creature. So it doesn't need to be crewed, basically, is what you're saying. Put a 1/1 counter on it, becomes a 4/3. Okay, got it. And then when it attacks, it creates a treasure. Pretty good. I think that's viable. So far, I like Gruul the most. When this vehicle enters, add 4 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Okay, so this comes down for 4. You get 4 more mana for it. But you can't really use that mana unless it's for an ability, which happens to have an ability to it. 3, at least 4 mana. This vehicle deals X damage to any target. Put a 1/1 counter on this vehicle. So it comes in for 4. You get the 4. You spend the 4. It deals 1 damage basically to a creature or any target, and it gets a 1/1 counter. Okay. It does something right away. That's pretty good. And if you ramp heavily, this could be pretty insane. Ooh, Celesia. We've been having fun with Celesia lately. All right, let's see what this thing does. It's a human knight. For 4 mana, it's a 4/2. Whenever it enters, you may search your library for a mount or vehicle card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay. If 1 or more 1/1 counters would be put onto a creature or vehicle you control, that many plus 1/1 counters, that many plus 1 1/1 counters are put on instead. So it gets an additional 1/1 counter. Got it. So it's not doubling the counters. It's just giving the extra 1 counter on creatures or vehicles. Pretty good. I can see that being pretty good. 1/1 counter decks. Like, we've got plenty of those that we've been playing. Here's the mount. 2 mana 1/1. Flying. Whenever it attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target mounts and or vehicles. 2 target mounts or vehicles. Interesting. This would be interesting because we have a 2-mana Celesia mount already. It's the unicorn. I forget the name of it, but it's pretty good. It creates the angels. I think this can be. I think this can be used in some stuff, man. I like it. I think Celesia looks pretty good here. It fits the bill of Celesia. Obviously, the 1/1 counter stuff. You know, we've seen it many times. It's pretty good, and I don't think these are too difficult to pull off. You know, getting that extra value when being played. So don't have to jump too. You don't have to jump through too many hoops to pull it off. You know what I mean? All right, so we got an Ox here for 2 mana. It's a 2/2. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, so you can saddle. Okay. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, including this one, I'm assuming. Sacrifice this creature. Creatures you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible to end a turn. That's nuts. This card's going to be nuts. Okay. Our first card that I'm saying is nuts here is going to be this Ox, because whenever this creature attacks while saddled, it gets 1/1 counters to put on a target creature. And it saddles for 1, the cheapest it can be. And yeah, you sack it. I mean, your whole deck list could be, yeah, this is really good because your whole deck list could be, you know, 1/1 counter based. Every creature is going to have 1/1 counters. Your whole field's going to gain that indestructibility and hexproof. I think this card's really good for aggro and white and counters. It does it all. It fits the bill for everything for me. I think this card is really good. This card right here looks crazy though. That's a crazy art.
Composed of the living
Orzhov. Here we go. The Champions of the Amonkhet. It's 2 mana, 3/2. Start your engines. Yep, we know. Sacrifice another creature. Surveil 1. Activate only once each turn. Okay, that doesn't seem very good. I guess there's that. Well, they're leaning more into that Raise the Past card again. Dude, I can't stand that deck, but Surveil 1, it works really well with. Sacrificing it works well with. Max speed. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a tapped. Okay. Yeah, this card's just going to make a really good deck list already better.
Working together to win
the Orzhov life gain, one-shot the opponent by raising the past. That's going to make it better. All right, we got a 1-mana Basri, 2/1 Human Knight. Humans might be pretty good, guys. You never know. 1 mana and then tap. This creates a 1/1 white cat creature token with lifelink. That's nuts. Hold on. We got a 1 mana Basri here. We know Basri. We have a 1 mana Basri here, which can tap and create cats. Cats are already busted. And then this is going to create cats with lifelink bodies. That's pretty crazy. And it has cycling for 3. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you why that's so good. Basri being legendary makes this really good because if it has cycling tied into it, this card being as good as it is, you can run 4 of these and not really get punished too hard for it because you can always cycle away the extra ones that, you know, aren't getting play because we've already got a Basri on the field. We don't want to get legendary ruled. You can cycle this second or third one away. That's pretty sweet. When you cycle this card, cats you control gain hexproof. What? Okay, that's nuts. Whenever you cycle this card, cats you control gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. All right, that might be my new favorite card. Not my new favorite card, but my new number 1. I think that's going to be really good. Because again, cats already are pretty competitive. We've done a cast deck pretty recently, and it's not bad. It's not like, it's not S tier, but it's good. This could make cats crazy. All right, and then we got a Chariot here for 4 mana. It's a 5/5 menace. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create that many tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So you Liliana on 3, you play this on 4, you force a discard on both sides, you get a zombie token. Pretty good to me. I think there's a lot of places for this. This is actually not bad. Yeah, this one's not bad at all. Especially with Esper Pixies, like, get at me, bro. Like, make me discard. I'll keep creating tokens. Not that the tokens are going to help a whole bunch because, you know, all their things fly. The fear and the pixie, they all fly, but still pretty good to get some value out of some discarding here. I like it.
Insects and arthropods who grow.
Golgari, we got. So they did every single. Okay, I see. They did every guild. 3, 4, 5, 6 mana for a 3/3. This better be good. Whenever it enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each artifact and or creature card in your graveyard. Whenever another insect you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on this guy. Yeah. Each opponent loses 1 life. Okay. So it works really well with sacrifice. self-milling, all that good stuff. Yes, each card in your graveyard. Yeah, so you want to self-mill or, you know, self-sacrifice a lot of things here. Get these insect tokens when you play it. Hopefully get like 3 or 4 of them by this time. And then you can start sacking those to get this 1/1 counters and the opponent starts getting drained. Not great. Not a big fan of that, but it's still pretty cool.
The Speed Brood refused.
We got a mythic vehicle for 5/5 for 3 mana. Trample each other vehicle you control. What? Each other vehicle and creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it. If it's with an additional 1/1 counter on it, okay. If its a mana value is 4 or less, otherwise it enters with 3 additional 1/1 counters on it. Wait a minute. So let me get this straight. So anything you play enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Vehicles or creatures. That's pretty cool. If the mana value is 4 or less. So you're saying if I start playing things like Vaultborn, you're going to start putting 3 additional 1/1 counters on it? That's pretty insane. So you're going to give me more value the bigger the creatures are. Interesting. That seems really good. Crew for 3. Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty good, man. I like this one mostly because it's a vehicle that does something passively for you throughout the entirety of the game for 3 mana. So you would probably just play this as an ability. It wouldn't be a card that would make it into everybody's cut for counter decks, but I feel like it's good enough to make it. And then it has the crew ability for 3 on it, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. Each other vehicle. Yeah, I like this one. I think it's pretty good.
Who have turned all their ingenuity.
All right, so we got an exhaust for 3 mana plus an X, and it has put X 1/1 counters on this card. Then you may have the base power and toughness of each other creature you control become equal to its power to the end of turn. That's pretty cool. This could be a really fun card to put in like a 1/1 token deck, like make all your tokens absolutely massive. Ooh, I want to try that. I want to make a Bant tokens deck. Use this creature, ramp up a little bit, and then hit the exhaust. Put X 1/1 counters on this, and then all those 1/1 creatures become like 4/5s. Like, that'd be crazy. I like this card.
Towards the fire, whose
that'd be
true
fun.
Name is the Aether Rangers are the paragons of the new.
And then we've got another Simic vehicle, 3/5. Has vigilance. Whenever you activate an exhaust ability, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter. That ties into what I'm saying here with flying. So cruise for 1. I like this card. It ties in really well with the other one. It pairs really nicely. Obviously, they're supposed to. It's the vehicle that the person's driving that we just talked about. So it creates the Thopter for 1/1. Thopter obviously gets much bigger because you activated that exhaust ability, so the pairs really nicely. So yeah, I mean, this fits pretty well.
Its multi-builders are a rowdy crew of sea.
Okay, now we got the pirates, I'm sure, right? Yep, Shark Pirate. Is it? All right, Shark Pirate. Ward 2, pay 2 life. So you got to pay 2 and you got to pay 2 life. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, target creature gets 2/0 until the end of turn for each card discarded this way. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw a card. 4 mana, 5/4, pretty good. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, target creature gets 2/0. Not 2/2, but 2/0 until end of turn. That's pretty cool. Deals damage. Okay. So I guess you could play this kind of like an Enduring Curiosity on 4. And then if you discard cards from that point on, let's say you draw and discard, like with let's say you have an ill-timed explosion and you discard 2 cards. Obviously, you're going to blow up your own creatures. Maybe that's a bad example. Let's take any sort of draw and discard effect, right? Let's say you discard 2. You could essentially make 2 of your creatures when they deal damage get you those cards. So it's like a less good Enduring Curiosity. But yeah, I don't see this getting any play. But
Corsairs hailing from an oceanic plane.
It's like a Timu Enduring Curiosity.
Visited only a territory the keel hauler.
Whenever you attack, draw a card, then discard a card. Yep, there you go. Crew 1, yeah, pretty standard.
Sides, Grand Prix winners, and the odds.
Oh, we got another Planeswalker? What happened to 1 Planeswalker per set? That went out the window pretty quick, didn't it? This is the Boros clan. We got another Chandra. Very cool. 4 mana, 4 loyalty. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1 target vehicle you control. Until the end of turn, it becomes an artifact creature and gains haste. That's pretty sweet, I can't lie. That pairs with this entire set. You may sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Okay. That pluses 2 loyalty. That's pretty good. Create a 3/2. Oh, this is where the artifact tokens. Okay, this is where the vehicle tokens come in. It's Chandra who creates them for 0. You get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control enters, this emblem deals 3 damage to any target. That's game winning for sure. 3 damage per artifact entering the field is crazy. This card is pretty sweet. I think I'm going to play this one at least once. This is pretty busted. So I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm a fan of this one.
Giver, Captain Coladin, a native.
And then their legendary creature here, a 2/3 creature for 2. Mounts and vehicles you control have haste. Whenever a mount you control enters, becomes saddled into the end of turn. Whenever a vehicle you control enters, it becomes artifact creature to the end of turn. Dang, dude, that's good. That's really good. Every artifact you drop in is going to come in with the haste, which is sweet already. But now you can bypass the mounting and crewing abilities. I mean, we already saw the 2-mana Ox. That's insane when it's saddled. Imagine it comes in saddled without having to tap another creature. Okay, that's pretty broken.
Of Kylum and someone who has dedicated
Boros aggro, gonna be good still.
It with his and
I'm telling you.
Their vehicles are built.
And then their vehicle is a 2, and then or it's 2 colorless, red, white, 2/3. Flying. Whenever this vehicle enters, distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 other target vehicles and or creatures you control. Not bad, pretty safe.
Out there is themed around the plane. The Eternal Might is a white, blue, and black commander servants of the living.
So we got commander decks. I don't think these are going to apply to us too much, obviously. I think we can skip this part because I don't play a ton of commander. I wish I did, guys. I apologize. I don't play enough. These are going to be pretty cool, I think, when we do our Brawl videos on Saturdays. But I think I'm more focused on the standard cards for now.
Aetherdrift will be available everywhere. Keep an eye out for the special guest, courtesy of the crew over at Secret Lair.
Secret Lair. Again, I'm not too sure how this applies, but other zombies you control get 1/1. Lord of the Undead. Return target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay.
Special in the race and fueled magic gameplay.
I think that's it. Okay, guys. I mean, final thoughts. I think the set's going to be pretty cool. I don't think I'm not a big fan of mounts and vehicles, to be honest. I'm not. I mean, they don't get played a lot for a reason. I don't think they're, extremely good. But I think this set being centrically focused on those things, clearly we've got some busted ones. I like how we're starting to get, these vehicles coming in and doing something right away. Or passively without having to actually be crewed and attack in. They could just be really good artifacts you play on the field that give you some sort of benefit. I think that's going to change the game for them for sure. I think that's going to help a lot. I like the set. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I really, really hope there's some sort of like non-max speed cards. That's my biggest takeaway here is I really hope there's cards that say, if you reach speed 2, you can do this. If you reach speed 3, you can do this. I hope it's not all max speed. I really hope not, because I feel like it's going to be really hard to get to max speed. And I'd hate to see a brand new mechanic like the speed mechanic. I hope it gets to see some play. And I feel like if everything requires you to be max speed, I don't quite think that we're going to see a whole lot of it, to be honest. I don't think the mechanic's going to be pushed as hard by the community to play because I don't think it's going to be that great. But if there's cards, like I said, that can supplement at certain speed levels to get you some more value, I can see it being better. I could be wrong. I mean, max speed could be crazy. It's hard to say, really. I just feel like aggro decks, if you're dealing damage every single turn for 4 turns, you're probably close to winning the game already. You don't really need that max speed to be relevant. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I could be talking out the side of my neck. I have no idea. This is my first time reviewing cards. I hope I did a good enough job. I hope I explained myself well enough, and I hope that my takes weren't too crazy and out of this world. And just give me some feedback maybe in the comments. Let me know how you think we did here. And again, next week, I'll be releasing hopefully my top 5 picks once they release more cards. That'll be the next video. If you guys want that video on time when I do it and it's a little bit more time relevant, again, you can consider becoming a member. It helps support the channel. I'd really greatly appreciate it. It's the little join button down below. But yeah, if you do, thank you so much. If you don't, no worries. You'll get the the video just 1 week later, no big deal. But by then we'll already be playing the set, so hopefully it's relevant. But if not, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys on the next video tomorrow with another Brawl deck, hopefully. And 1 more week of standard, I think. And then the following week, it's when it gets fun, because I think we're going to have early access. I really hope. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. Until next time, peace out, guys.
Hit him 3 times like a hat trick. The name is Celesia, no Patrick. If you play him, then it's tragic. Hit him with the mythic, yeah, that's magic. MTG, that's what you'll see if you like and subscribe. Where's the upload, man? Man, all of the time. Coming with the best decks, this is the meta. This ain't cheap, yeah.